girl, not wanting to be assaulted by the fat man, activated the bomb in her pocket. Mark, upon seeing this, was so terrified that he didn't even have time to pull up his pants, and tried to escape. However, Jenny wasn't going to let him get away. She threw the bomb at him, and the violent explosion immediately ended Mark's life. Jenny felt no guilt for Mark's death. She felt proud, knowing she had used a weapon to protect herself. At this moment, Jenny was no longer confused. She wanted to kill all the men, especially the men on this island. The next one she encountered, she would deal with one by one. But just then, another man appeared across the river. Jack had once been the 10th ranked player in the world. In the game, Jack was the legendary undefeated player, admired by thousands, and even got married in the virtual world. However, in the real world, Jack could only survive by relying on his parents' savings. One day, his mother urged him to find a job, and even tried to convince him to work at a relative's noodle shop. But Jack, frustrated, shouted at her to get out of the room. Jack, beyond saving, had his mother sign an agreement with a mysterious organization, and thus, Jack was kidnapped, and brought to a deserted island. When he woke up, he couldn't remember what had happened. There was no signal on his phone, and a strange gem was embedded in the back of his hand. Luckily, his body felt normal, and when he found his backpack, and a strange satchel, he thought things might be okay. However, the jungle was full of insects, and he hurriedly ran out. But the worst part was, he realized he was stranded on a deserted island. After finishing the last of his food, he noticed 8 cubes inside the satchel. When he accidentally pressed the activation button, the cubes began a countdown. The ticking numbers made him uneasy, and he quickly threw the cubes away. The next second, the cubes exploded violently. Jack finally understood what the cubes were. At this moment, a figure appeared in the distance. He rushed to call for help, but the person pulled out a bomb. Unprepared, Jack was blasted to the ground. In his panic, Jack couldn't think straight, because Hans was already chasing him with a bomb. Jack had no choice but to grab something and run for his life. He didn't even understand why Hans was trying to kill him, though Hans was confused by Jack's lack of retaliation. When Jack raised his hands in surrender, Hans still chose to blow him up. The impact and smoke from the bomb made Jack vanish from Hans' sight.